everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about something that happens to all of us. It happened to me, it happened to you, and it's going to happen to all of our children. However, it's not exactly the most fun topic to discuss, and that is puberty. Oh my goodness. Okay, so let me just say that there is no right or wrong time to talk to your kids about puberty. Well, I mean, you shouldn't really explain all the gory details to like a 3-year-old, and you definitely want to have the talk before they're like in high school, but between those ages there's no like right age. So I'm going to tell you how we talked to our kids about it at the age and stuff like that. So as you know, I have 5 kids. I have 4 girls and a boy, and my girls currently are almost 15, 11, 8, and almost 6. My son's going to be 4 in December. So that said, I have given the puberty talk 3 times. I usually give it around 8. In my family, girls start going through all of that stuff relatively young. I got my period like right before I was 11. My oldest daughter was also almost 11, and Sarah was 11. So we tend to have it a little bit early, just so that way they have plenty of time to ask questions and stuff like that. And also that, at least again for our family, this is unique to us. In our situation, yours might be totally different, and that's absolutely fine. I just feel like 8, that's just kind of whenever things start changing a little bit for us. So another reason why 8 is because I believe my oldest daughter told me that her stepmother started talking to her about all that stuff whenever she was like 6 or 7, which I personally feel is too young. And by the time she was 8 and I talked to her about it, I don't know what her stepmother goes through, or if she's just giving Autumn the worst case scenario, which, you know, she might have thought would be helpful, but she told her literally the very worst case scenario. If that's what that poor woman has to go through, oh my god, my heart like breaks for her. That's what she has to go through. It's awful. But I just set them down and told them, I guess, the basics, you know, start growing breasts, start getting hair in funny places. I also talked to them at length about when they get their period, because I think for a girl that's like, you know, the big sign that you have, you know, you're right smack dab in the middle of puberty. Explained about acne, and I explained about changes they might have in their hair, how they might grow or they might stop growing. I haven't grown since I was 12 years old. I explained, you know, about all of it, how they might gain weight, how they might lose weight, you know, how their body is going to be changing. I lost my train of thought. But like I said, the biggest thing obviously for a girl is talking about her period. And I don't know exactly who's going to give Sam his puberty talk. I gave it to the girls because obviously my husband has no first-hand experience. I only have one brother, and he's like a lot younger than me. So I don't really know what it's like for a boy. So I think I'm going to have my husband give that talk, or at least educate myself a lot more. That way I can talk to him about it. But anyway, like I was saying, for a girl, the main thing is whenever they start to grow breasts and whenever they get their period. And it was very unique talking to each of the 3 girls because, again, Autumn had already had some knowledge given to her by her stepmother, and Sarah and Brooklyn didn't really have any. Sarah kind of was paying attention when I was talking to Autumn, so she knew a little bit, but Brooklyn just she'd rather be outside playing. She doesn't really care. But here are just some tips and tricks on what I have learned along the way, I guess. And number 1 is, don't be embarrassed. This is going to happen to all of us. Yes, it's an uncomfortable conversation, but you have to have it. Like, your kids need to know what's happening to their bodies. My second piece of advice is allow them to ask as many questions as they want. And don't just stop the conversation there. I remember when I got my period, I was so ashamed and embarrassed that I didn't even tell my mom for like 2 whole cycles, and that's a lot. I was just embarrassed and ashamed and didn't really know what to do. And honestly, I don't even remember how she ended up finding out. I think she did my laundry one day for me when I was at school or something like that. But I was so embarrassed and I was so ashamed, and that's not what you want for your daughter. I remember telling myself then and there that I was going to make it better for my girls. And it's not that my mom said or did anything to where I should be ashamed. I just felt like I couldn't really ask questions after that initial conversation. So I wanted to be very, very clear to my girls that they were open. They could ask me anything they want, any time of day, and they did, randomly. Sarah would, I don't know, we're shopping at Target, and she'd randomly ask me a question and she would get an answer. And that's what you want to have with your kids, I think. Not just in this, with everything that you talk about, especially when it's time for the sex talk, which I have had to have twice, and I'm going to have at least 2 more times. Again, I don't know if Irvin's going to talk to them about that or not. But anyway, you want to have open and honest conversations and dialogues, and you just get past the embarrassment, because I understand why you could be embarrassed about it, because it's not a comfortable thing. It's not like learning their colors or whatever, and it is a sign that your child's growing up. But it is oh so important to have these conversations, to keep the dialogue open and honest, and obviously age appropriate. I'm not going to go and tell an 8-year-old how to put on a tampon or whatever, you know. But however, I did teach Sarah how. Okay, by teach, I mean I showed her a diagram like of the female genitalia and told her, okay, this is where it goes. And for those of you, I'm sure you remember it from sex ed, at least if you're from a state that does not teach abstinence only, and if you are in an abstinence only area, that sucks, I'm sorry. But you just want to keep them, I think the more you open up the dialogue, the more informed they're going to be, and the less embarrassed they're going to be, the less it's going to seem like this huge deal, because it is a huge deal. But it's not a huge deal for you. It's a huge deal for your child. So, I don't know. That's my 2 cents about that. And the last tip I want to give is to not freak out when your daughter gets her period or your son does whatever boys do. Again, I am so uneducated about boy puberty. It's insane. I guess when their voice starts cracking or they start taking extra long showers, maybe you shouldn't really be alarmed by that. And that's something else you want to talk to your kids about at some point. Anyway, at least I did, was about masturbation. It's not a fun conversation. But again, it's one of those talks that you have to have, and the more open and honest you are about it, I mean, obviously your kid's not going to run and tell you, oh, Mom, I did this, because you don't want to know that, and they don't want to share that with you. Because I mean, who would? But I guess that's just how you want to be. You want to just, I guess my main tip, I'm rambling now, is keep it, oh, my cat knocked down Sam's backpack, is you want to keep it open, you want to keep it honest, and you want to make it seem like it's something to be ashamed about, because it's not. It's nothing to be ashamed about. Growing up is nothing to be ashamed about. Going through puberty is nothing to be ashamed of. We've all done it, and we've all come out the other end, most of us just fine. Some of us are a little bit, but that's okay. Anyway, that's my video for today. I'm sorry, it's kind of been all over the place. I had like a clear idea of what I wanted to say, and then I turned the camera on and it all went out the window. So if that happens to you, let me know down in the comments below. But anyway, that's going to be all for today, and I will talk to you guys next time. Bye.